T. Waldron. Come on, Pumpkin. Pumpkin was just laying on the forced air heater, so I just pulled her out. Can you jump? Oh, here she goes. Wow, thank you for joining us. That was a good jump. Wow, you did a really nice job. You want to jump to your seat? Oh, you can do it. Come on, Pumpkin. There she is. Hey, everybody, we're back. I'm T. Waldron. This is my trusty cat, Pumpkin, and we're here for our live. It's Sunday night. It's really snowing out there. We're in New England, near New York City, and it is coming down out there. This is quite a contrast from Costa Rica. I'm so grateful that I made it home. Thank God. My flight was yesterday and not today, because a lot of flights were canceled. So I'm just so grateful to be here, grateful to be here with you, and especially grateful to be here with Pumpkin. Yeah. And thanks for coming here and hopping off the heater, even though I pulled her off and I shut the door so she couldn't go back. You can go back on later, okay? So yeah, she's purring though. Oh, let me see if I can get her mic'd up so you can hear her purring. Let's see. Oh, you're purring so nice. Yes, that's lovely. It's really nice. It's very nice. Thank you. I'm expecting a lot out of this collar. I know, you're such a good girl. By the way, she's 17 years old. So, yeah, you're doing great. Keep it up, okay? Let me see if I can put this where her purr is. There we go. Maybe you can hear that. Yeah, so how is the weather where you are? It is really quite something already, and it's only 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, so I just got back from Costa Rica last night around midnight, and we have a blizzard now. I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad we made it. Yeah. I don't know what I would have done if I got stuck there. It's good to be home. Did you ever travel and then appreciate being home even more? That's where we are. Hey, good evening. Yeah, she seems okay. You know, cats don't really. It's not like you can read them like dogs, but you know, they didn't ignore me this time when I came back, so that was nice. So yeah, right? Yeah. So I hope you're hunkered down for the storm. Hey, Berserker, welcome. Yeah, Pumpkin missed you guys. When it was time, she did get off the heater, and she did, you know, she's here. She jumped on the chair. I hope you saw that, because that was very dramatic. She's 17, right? Yeah, you're spry. I hope I'm that good when I'm your age, in cat years. Yeah. So just got back from a week-long retreat in Costa Rica. It was Healing from Trauma Conference. And it was amazing. It was just a beautiful, it was a beautiful gift. And I don't know if I'll go again next year, because this was my third year at this particular conference with this particular group of teachers and professionals. I really loved it, and I kind of feel like that part of me may be complete. You know, I think I got a lot deeper in some of the practices, and it was really good. So I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. We'll see what next year brings, because it's a beautiful location. It's called Blue Spirit in Costa Rica, and I stayed in a tent. And actually this year there was I did a live the morning after, but there was like a live animal in the bushes one night. And then I couldn't sleep after that, because I was thinking, I was like laying there in bed with like this umbrella, just in case it came through the tent. This is a thin plastic tent, so if something really wanted to come in there. There were howler monkeys overhead, which was interesting, but those are also pretty big and strong. And they stay to themselves from what I hear, but you just never know, right? So I don't know if you've ever had that, where you have a hard time sleeping because you may be in a situation. But you know, it's exciting too. It's beautiful to be with nature and then wake up with the sun as it comes through the tent. So yeah, so Dick Schwartz was there. He had so many interesting things to say, and he really he embraces his spirituality now regarding internal family systems, which is his modality of psychotherapy that treats our internal system as though it's a family. And the beautiful thing is we have a self, which is our soul, and that can heal us and that knows how to reparent us, because a lot of times we don't have those parenting attachments that we need when we're kids. And that was another thing Bessel van der Kolk spoke about. He said that if we don't have these parenting attachments at certain critical ages in our development, then we're traumatized, and that makes a lot of sense. He did, you know, I misspoke on one of my lives where he said we can't heal from those. We can, but it often takes more than one modality. So he basically was saying we can't heal if we're just doing psychotherapy, talk therapy, because we need to combine it with other aspects that can rewire our neurological circuits in our brains. He suggested physical modalities such as yoga. He did tests on yoga. He did massage. He had other modalities that got people moving and physically using their senses. I was going to say sensations, but like their you know senses and their proprioception. You know, we're moving in space to help access those parts of the brains that were traumatized. Because a lot of times when we are traumatized, our brain is in fight or flight. So we've got that animal part of the brain that we often go into, and just talking about it, not taking action, or you know, sort of regaining your sense of power through different ways. It could be exercise, it could be walking, it could be writing, it could be you know, many different things. We can't oftentimes access those traumatized moments, which he also said our brain gets frozen in that time. And he also said EMDR is a very helpful modality. So lots of different ideas were spoken about. And you know, back to Dick Schwartz, he says different parts of us can be compassionate to the part of us that had the trauma and help it heal. So isn't that neat? Hey, Chance. Oh no, you think a cat is on your roof. Well, this cat is right here. She's sitting on the arm of this chair, and she's here for you guys. Here, are you still purring? Yeah, she's purring. I don't know if I mic'd her up, so maybe you can hear her purring. So yeah. What else? Let's see what he said. Yeah, so Dick Schwartz is fantastic. He started this modality maybe 40 or 50 years ago, and he really has developed it along the way to help people in different situations. But it's just, he calls himself a peddler of hope, because people that think they can't heal and that they're irreparably damaged, we can all heal. And that's just a beautiful message, and it gave me hope back when I was in a very dark time. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Oh yeah, this cat, thanks for asking, Terrifier. Nice to see you back. She is 17 years old, and her name is Pumpkin. And I adopted her a few years ago when her owner passed away. And I had known her because her owner lived at the assisted living where I used to work. And then I used to go, when I needed a break from work, I'd go visit her because she was always so chill. Right? Are you chill? Yeah. And initially, she used to hide under the bed a lot. And eventually, she kind of got a little more friendly over time, right? Now she's 17. Yep. So how are you? Is everybody having a good night? Oh, Wisconsin, welcome. Hi, Jill. I'm so glad you could join us. Are you guys getting some weather out there? We're on the east coast of the U.S. near New York City. Hey, Dustin, welcome back. Yeah, so Pumpkin was very sweet, and Fractal's over there napping on the other couch. So they were pretty cool when I got back. I was happy. Sometimes when you go away, you know, your pets can be, your cats especially, can be like, where were you? But they were cool, right? So anyway, if you're new, welcome. I talk about how to be our best selves, and I just got back from a conference with some really amazing psychologists and authors and practitioners, and I'm just sharing with you some of the stuff I learned. So thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. Oh, cold and windy, a little bit of snow. Well, okay, that's probably par for the course in Wisconsin. Yeah. Aw, you're so sweet. Thank you. Dustin, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I really do appreciate that, Dustin. And we were just talking about how we can heal from trauma. And we all have trauma, whether maybe we don't realize it. And sometimes it's not, maybe it's not obvious to us because sometimes our brain can sort of lock it away and we just don't think about it. And then I heard this story over and over from different people throughout the week. And a lot of people were, I'd say maybe half of the people there were therapists. Maybe like a quarter were, say, life coaches, and then a quarter were just people that wanted to learn more about healing their own trauma or whatever. But a lot of people just across the board, whether they were there professionally or personally, said, you know, I didn't think I had any trauma. And then, you know, you start like really analyzing yourself a little bit and you say, oh, you know what? I do. And it's been hindering me and I didn't even realize it. So I think the first step with any kind of getting to know yourself is awareness. So that's what you kind of want to do. And in our world, we don't stop and we don't like analyze ourselves very often. You know, taking the time to create a practice for yourself. And it's a gift you give yourself to start to get to know yourself and then eventually love yourself, like journaling or meditating or, you know, slowing down and stopping looking outside of yourself for peace and validation and starting to look within. Yeah, Jill. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you made it on the live, Jill. I know, and I appreciate you checking out the videos. I'll be making more videos because I find those are, I love that creativity, you know, the videos and stuff like that. That medium is really fun and silly sometimes. So thanks for coming. I'm glad you found us. Oh, okay, Dustin, let's see. And oh, by the way, hi, Kamel, welcome. Kamlesh, I apologize. Your mom was alcoholic, and the 5 kids are emotionally abused. Yes. Yeah, and you know what? We oftentimes, and oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. So you're trying to like come remember some things. That's what some of these teachers said. They said a lot of times when we're super traumatized as kids, we block out so many things that hurt us, and it's a way of surviving. It could have been the only way you could get through that is by just kind of either numbing yourself or they call it, what is it called? Disassociating, where you sort of, I used to, when I was in a stressful situation, I used to pretend I was in a movie, you know, and like I had somebody in my life who was particularly mean to me, you know, more than one person, but particularly with this person, it was like repetitive. So to survive that, I couldn't leave that situation. So I had to interact with this person, but I would just think to myself, oh, this is a movie, you know, and I'm the main character, and this person is kind of, you know, just being really mean. And pretty soon I'm gonna, you know, I don't know. I thought I would have a good scene eventually, which didn't happen till I ended that relationship. But I would sometimes look to the camera and, you know, the imaginary camera and just pretend I was in a movie. And that was the only way I could survive this because this person was really, really mean. And we all find, and that's parts of us. And that's, again, back to the Dick Schwartz information. So part of me pretended I was in a movie, and that was the way I survived that. But what happens is when we're in stressful situations, sometimes these parts can take on extreme roles, and maybe what may have been helpful at one point in our lives, like when we're kids, we may have to do something like bury the rage or disassociate or forget about things or fall asleep or whatever. Sometimes that part can take on this extreme role, and then as we're adults, it's not helpful anymore, and it's actually maybe hurting us, but that part doesn't know it. So it's pretty astonishing the abilities that our brains have to, and imaginations, and Dick Schwartz's work teaches us to, even if it's something that's harmful, like a bad habit or something detrimental, we are to, he encouraged us to be curious about what that part was originally doing, and then be grateful to the part for say, you know what, you did a great job protecting me when I was, in that situation, but I can handle myself now. So, you want to get healthy and then learn how to handle yourself, and then you can renegotiate your relationship with that part and say, hey, what do you want to do now? I'm okay. I don't need that particular help anymore. What would you like to do? And a lot of times, and this was fascinating. He would do demos on the stage, and a person would volunteer, and he would work with their parts. The part would often say, oh, I didn't want to do that. I would rather go lay on the beach. I would rather go and be a fun, frolicking person and laugh all the time. And then you unlock that part's joy and potential. And it's really, and you can actually see the person oftentimes, their physical stress that they were carrying on their shoulders or tension, they would totally change and just become more relaxed when that part didn't have to carry that tension and that job. It's really wild stuff, guys. Very powerful. Yeah. So I'm sorry you had to go through that, Dustin. There's so much damage to the children, in an alcoholic, when there's an alcoholic parent, and oftentimes the kids have to be parentified. The kids often have to take on, as a child, you have to sometimes take care of that parent or even the other parent if they're also incapacitated, or maybe they're not around. It's kids are the victims in these parental, when parents have alcoholism, and I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's unacceptable. It's really difficult. But thanks for being here, and thanks for working on your healing, and for being a positive influence, and for welcoming Jill. Yeah. Yeah, and that's wise not to drink. Yeah, awesome. And yeah, that's exactly. So many times what hurt us teaches us what not to do. So if you can take that and that whatever was negative or not what you would prefer in your life, and you can learn a way to make it a learning and learn and say, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. Then that's a way that you can strengthen yourself and not be a victim from what happened, but use that as say, okay, I'm going to learn from that. And I'm stronger now because I'm not going to be that way, and I'm not going to make that choice. So congratulations on that. You're taking it and you're empowering yourself rather than being a victim to it. So thank you for sharing that. And that's not always easy to share, so thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's see. I said this last year, but I think this is an interesting idea. So again, Bessel van der Kolk, he's an amazing, he's an MD, but I think I don't know, I think he studies, he may be a neurologist, I'm not sure, okay? But I know he's very, very, he's brilliant. He has he teaches, I believe he teaches, or he has a lab at Harvard. But he says the DSM-3, which he helped define PTSD, and now he disagrees with what he created as a definition. So I love that, because he's not afraid to say, hey, I was instrumental. He was on the committee that created the definition of PTSD. He says the definition that they created at that time, which was, you do the best you can at the time, and then more information comes. So then more information came up, and he wanted to change it, and they said, nope, we're going with what you said earlier. And he said now he believes that the definition he helped create leaves out development. It leaves out social attachment system ideas, and it leaves out culture. So there are aspects of the PTSD diagnosis that he would like to include, and he says it's too narrow and rigid. And they said, no, it's already in the book, and we're leaving it, and we're not changing it. So, but he also said trauma destroys your sense of, it can destroy your sense of purpose, and it changes the reward system in your brain. And they used to do exposure treatment, and he thinks that that's not, and he said that that's not effective. And he showed, obviously, data from different scientific tests. But that's where he came in with yoga and physical expression can rewire your brain to not be triggered by the trauma. So he said EMDR. He actually showed us examples of people that were doing like acting therapy and psychodramas, where they would pretend that one person, he had a group of people, and one person had like parents who were very cold and distant, and he showed us how that they sort of reenacted some different scenes, and had two people represent the parents who, as they existed, and the adult child who was in the group could say how they felt toward these parents. And then he had two other people come and say, okay, now this is, if you could have your ideal parents, what would you have wanted your parents to say? And then they acted with those ideal parents, and the person it was pretty wild. Because I'm like, that sounds so weird, but it was wild. So the person could, said, oh, I wish you said this and this. And then the two parents who were ideal said what that child needed to hear at that time, because they went back into where the traumatic situation was. And then the person just sort of felt so much better, and they felt like at peace. So I don't know how it was just so powerful and surprising. But he said these weird, he called them, he goes, these weird therapies don't get as much funding because they're different. He did get funding for the yoga one, but then that was like the last funding he really got for these unusual therapies. He said drug therapy is no problem because they can make money, but all these other ones that are not, the drug companies can't make money from yoga. So that sort of ended. And then Luis Mojica was amazing. So, what do you guys think? Does this stuff resonate with you? I don't want to bore you. So if you don't want to hear any more about this, let me know. If you do, I just want to share with you, though, Luis Mojica was talking about somatic therapy, how our bodies, he teaches us to feel what we're feeling in our body, and then understand why we may be feeling that way, and how the food affects how we feel. Yeah. Oh, you love Luis. Excellent. I'm so glad you know who he is. He was amazing. I love him too. He's got a new book coming out. In I think April. I was asking, I didn't buy it, it's not out yet, but I didn't pre-order it because I'm like, hey, did you bring any copies? And he goes, no, it's not printed yet. He almost had copies to bring, but it wasn't quite ready. But yeah, he published a book with Hay House. So yeah, check out his website and order if you're interested. Yeah, let me see. Oh yeah, originally PTSD, the upgraded name for shell shock and battle fatigue. Since the 70s, we started looking at the family and society. Yes. Oh, yeah, because he did work with veterans at first. So that probably, maybe his definition might have been around that time with the veterans. And then you're right, and then it extended, because we can get PTSD from many different situations, right? Thank you. Oh, you pre-ordered it. Yay. Awesome. I know I have to do that because I want to help them get, I guess the good numbers are within the first week or something. So yeah. So let's see. That's awesome, Jill. I'm so happy. Let's see. I had to use, Oh yeah, so this one we're on to Luis Mojica. He's a somatic healer and he's a nutritionist. So he said, and you might have heard this in one of my lives, but I'm just going to recap if you're new. Yeah, I'm so glad you showed up too. Woohoo! Okay, and I'm sorry if you're going through trauma, but also there were so many empowering things that we learned. I'm just trying to kind of give you a recap. So Luis says there's 3 different types of food. Now he looks at food, not judging whether good or bad, fattening or not fattening, healthy or unhealthy. That's all fine. You can, but the way he looks at food, he understands food through a nervous system lens. So what does it do to our actual body? Whether it's organic or not organic, he's like, that's not even relevant to this. I mean, obviously, you don't want things with pesticides, okay? But he said in general, there's 3 different types of food because of how they interact with our body, okay? So the first is stimulants. So those right away, they bring up the adrenaline, fight or flight response. Okay, now what do you think? And this is great because we've got people that know this stuff. What do you think the top 3 ones are? If anybody has any ideas, put it in the chat. I'd love to know what you think. So again, the stimulants bring up the adrenaline, and the other one, well, I'm not going to say it yet, but because it's a stimulant, it gets our body ready to do something. We want to go towards a thing or run away from a thing. But also, he says there is fight, flight, right? Those are 2. Freeze or fawn. So those are 2 other things. So we may just freeze. Do you ever just not know what to do and you just sort of stand there, or you're just sort of not do anything? Or fawn, and he calls fawning when we are behaving in a way that is contrary to how we would prefer to behave. So like, let's say we are at work and we're, complimenting our boss even though we think they're a jerk. And it's incongruent with our whole nervous system and it feels terrible. So that's one. Yes, that's right. Sugar and caffeine. Oh, that's top 1 and 2. Excellent. That's right. Thank you, Jill. I'm glad you joined us tonight. So caffeine, so that our brain doesn't feel tired, so we can handle whatever situation is. And then sugar, as you know, obviously affects the glucose, which also then shoots the adrenaline up. And then the third thing is, it's not even a food, it's skipping a meal. Now, not if we're doing intentional time-restricted eating. That is if we are so busy and we don't have time to eat, and we would like to, but we're working so hard, or we're, not focused on ourselves, and we just skip a meal. That actually causes our glucose to dip, and then our adrenaline spikes, which is kind of counterintuitive, but that does make sense. Oh, don't go, Pumpkin. Well, she may just have to go. All right, she'll be back. So that's a wild thing. So those 3 are the top 3 stimulants. Then number 2, the second type of food is a depressant. Oh, hi there, Austin. Welcome. We're talking about Luis Mojica. He said there's 3 different kinds of types of foods that regulate our nervous system. And we just talked about stimulants. Now we're going to talk about depressants. And feel free to put what you think some depressants are in the chat. But these actually, they kind of feel very soothing and calm, like comfort food, right? And so the top 3, he says, the number 1 is obviously processed carbs. So processed carbohydrates. These are my favorites. Cake, cookies, pasta, breads, chips, pizza. I love them all. The second type is fried foods. Oh, good. Oh, good guess, Jill. That's an awesome guess, but no, those go in a different category. I'll tell you those in a second. So the second type of depressants is fried foods. And the third isn't a type of food, but it's actually overeating. So when we kind of eat way too much, and it just feels like it calms our senses down. So it's almost like comfort food, like a big bowl of mac and cheese. And that's such good comfort food because you feel like it just slows you down. But it does calm us down and it depresses us and it may quell some feelings. But then after a while, our sugar spikes and it releases adrenaline 4 to 5 hours later. So then again, we're getting the increase of adrenaline and we get the fight or flight response. So that was surprising to me, how these initially kind of calm everything down, but then the adrenaline goes up. So yeah, so that was really surprising. And adrenaline modulates our blood sugar and spikes the blood sugar so that we can behave in a fight or flight. Okay, and then the last one is and just one quick thing about depressants. It's got postprandial blood flow, which means blood goes from our brain to our stomach. So it's sort of not like we don't think about it. It kind of distracts us from thinking. So if we're stressed out, that's why these comfort foods are so appealing, because we can't think about our problems as much. We sort of get lost in the food. And the overeating or binge eating can really be very effective with that. And the third type of food, so we have stimulants, depressants, and that's what the beans come into, are balancers. So they sort of just keep our system, running smooth. By not touching the systems in a dramatic way, they protect us. And it helps us circulate bile acid, which helps clear our blood and clear our system. So he said beans are a powerhouse. That's the number one. They have increased soluble fiber, and they're healthy, and they help our blood clean itself. And he said the most hate mail he's ever gotten about any topic he's spoken about, and he's spoken about some doozies, are beans. I'm sure you can guess why. But anyway, the second thing that's a balancer is greens, steamed or raw greens, and then protein, 4 to 6 ounces, are also a balancer. Now, let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's all good. Hey, Big, welcome. You just missed Pumpkin. I hope you got to see her earlier. She was here all night. She went to go sit on her little chair thing. Yeah, so those are balancers. Those are really good for us, and they help create our capacity to think and have a clear perception. They decrease adrenaline and increase neurotransmission. And he said and he had like different comments about various things, but I just wanted to share that with you. And again, Luis has a book coming out in April, so that'll be good. I was going to interview him, but our schedules didn't quite line up. But I'm going to try to line something up with his people. He told me to call his people, and I'll see if we can get him on one of these lives. I think that was about. There's a ton more, but I think that's enough for tonight. What's everybody think about that? Oh, your message didn't show up. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Well, you're here now. And I want to thank our moderator, Imran Hossain, and I'm sure you didn't get zapped by Imran, or as we call it, Imran. Pumpkin. Oh, wow. You climbed to the top of the cat tower? Wow, she must feel pretty good. Let me show you guys. Hopefully you guys can catch her up there. Let's see, where is she? There she is. Can you guys see her? She's up there at the top of the cat tower. Are you having a good time up there? Yeah. She usually doesn't go that high, so I'm glad she's feeling feisty. All right, anyway. Thank you, Imran Hossain, for moderating our chat and doing a great. Pumpkin, you did great. I'm going to come over there and get that mic in a minute, though. I hope you guys have a great evening. And, oh, thank you. Slayer. Yeah, Jill, I'm so glad you joined us. Thank you so much. And do join us. So we're on live 8 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays. Eastern Standard Time and 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. So hopefully you guys can, I know, right? She's like, are you having a good time up there? Yeah? You look very nice. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. So from myself to yourself, thank you for joining us on this journey. And thanks again, Imran. Great job. I'll get to editing those videos you sent me. We're back at it. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 a.m. All right, thanks, everybody. I know, she is the queen bee. Your friends say goodnight, Pumpkin. What do you say? Can you say goodnight? No, she's a cat. She's not going to do it. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow. Thanks again. Great chat, everybody.